Lucha Brothers, and you listen All Elite Podcast. You know why?
Hey, this is Cole Cabana. Check out the All Elite Podcast. All Elite.
This is Sammy Guevara, the best ever. And you, yes you, need to go check out All Elite Podcast.
What's up, man? It's the After Machine, this Wolverine, Mr. GMSI himself, and man, huge F and honors, Brian Cage. You're watching the All Elite Podcast. Who better?
Welcome back, All Elite family, to another exciting edition of the All Elite Podcast. As always, I'm your host, All Elite Andy, joined by my wonderful co-hosts, Big Match AJ, Philip Domino, and Kira. How's everybody doing today? It's been a week. We've had a week off to get a little bit of relaxation in. I had a birthday, so I wanted to relax a little bit, and now we're back. So how's everybody doing?
Happy belated birthday, first of all.
Thanks, man. I just wanted a cheap plug.
Yeah, and you deserve it. And I had a good time. I went to Universal for a day. We had a little mini vacation with my family. A lot of fun. So I enjoyed the week off too.
Kira had a strong reaction.
She's either jealous that you got to go or mad that you're trying to get coronavirus.
Oh shit! I forgot to live.
It's fine.
You took a plane and okay.
Oh, okay. I'm fine. You know, nothing too good, nothing too bad. It was a fine week.
Yes.
Or
we're on a
several
diet.
weeks. No, yeah.
Nice.
That's the thing.
I'm on a diet too, so that's cool. We're all dieting. We're doing the full gear challenge here on the All Elite
Are you doing
Podcast.
that, AJ?
So
I'm not eating, so.
yeah, brother, full gear
I'll just
challenge
have to-
all the way. He's going all out.
Wait, you blurred your background too. Should we blur ours
That's okay.
to match?
That's all good.
Yeah, let's all blur
It's
our
all-
backgrounds.
It's all be blurry.
We'll all blurry together. Let's talk about the ratings before we talk about Dynamite. We'll talk about the ratings a little bit. Dynamite did some pretty decent ratings this week. They're down a little bit, but still beat out NXT by about 135,000. But something that's interesting to me is the late night Dynamite, the one that aired at about 12:30 at night, still did 500 and some odd thousand. That's pretty good.
585, yeah, really good. Almost 600,000. I mean, you can round up to that basically. For 12:30 a.m., and I didn't watch it. Phil, me and Phil both watched it separately, but we didn't watch it live. And I really was thinking, it's going to be like a few 100,000, not much, people who are coming off the NBA game. But I guess that NBA game helped a lot. I don't know who was playing, but I guess that gave him a good kick to get a good number.
It was a good setup because it was the Lakers and the Nuggets, and I believe that was the game that Anthony Davis had a game-winning shot to beat the Nuggets. So it was a close game, competitive game, so people were watching till the very end. So that helps people transition into the next segment, as opposed to it following a blowout.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and the late night Dynamite show had a little bit of hype going into it too. I know the Scorpio Sky and Ben Carter match, people were kind of talking about it on social media beforehand, but you guys were excited about it after watching it, correct?
Yeah,
it was really good.
It was really, really good. Like, I was expecting Scorpio Sky quick win. No, Ben Carter really brought it. And not only did he bring it, he looked really good doing it. Like, all his moves were really smooth. Could definitely be a player in the future. I think he needs to work on his image because he's kind of vanilla to me. Like, nothing going on there, really. Just Ben Carter. He's British, I guess. That's it. And so, I don't know. I feel like he could do something there. Other than that...
Are you anti-British, AJ? Are you're going to have any of our British listeners really pissed off, bro?
I'm with
No,
Big
he's
Joseph,
saying
bro.
everything he knows about him, I think.
Yeah, that's that exactly. That's all I know about him, and so I would love to hear him on the mic. I know he's young, but put him on dark, give him some promos, give him some practice there. He could be a player, especially after such a great match. I mean, it's Scorpio Sky, so it's going to be a good match, but it was still surprising how smooth he was.
Yeah, he was a really good wrestler, and then it might not mean a lot for me, but I mean, it looked like a good match. Like it.
I think that means more from you.
I was going to say.
Made me believe that he'd win at some points because he pinned him down a couple of times, and he did have really great moves. Now we just need a character to match it.
Yes.
We didn't hear him talk at all, so maybe next time.
No, but probably for good reason. If they don't really engage on somebody's character right away, it always just leads me to believe that they don't have charisma.
Yeah.
Or maybe they just don't want to do it yet.
Yeah,
it makes sense not to throw him out there to the wolves if it's not going to be great. But I do think eventually they know they have to build that charisma. We'll get into it when we talk about Dynamite. But I think when Private Party cut their promo. That's sort of the beginning stages of that. They realize they have to let these guys cut promos even if they're not going to be good. So eventually I think Ben Carter will get an opportunity. But I think it's cool that he impressed so much on one of his first matches for the company. He's someone me and AJ have seen wrestle for Game Changer before, so to see him get this opportunity and really shine with it. He mentioned that I think Britt Baker is the one who really threw his name out there to Tony Khan after going to one of the Game Changer shows and got him this opportunity, and people started buzzing about it, and the match was really good. So shout out to Ben Carter for really getting that opportunity. It's unfortunate he's someone who has come down with the coronavirus. There have been a couple AEW superstars who have come up sick with that, but yeah, he's someone who's been mentioned or actually confirmed himself on social media that he's sick. So hopefully he's able to get past that and come back and make a speedy recovery, because that's just an unfortunate set of circumstances that has happened to more than one person in this pandemic, where they're getting that opportunity and something like this happens. So.
Yeah, and shout out to Scorpio Sky for not just squashing him, because I'm sure if he wanted to, he could have. Like, if he has the pull enough to say, I'm not going to wrestle a 10-minute some odd match with Ben Carter.
Yeah, it was interesting to me and really shocking when they pulled up his graphic and he was 1-1, and I was like, who's this guy beating? Like, a tag match or something? And then I realized it was on a random episode of Dark where he fought Lee Johnson and beat him. And I remember looking at the graphic and I was like, oh, cool, Lee Johnson's finally going to get a win. They're going to do something with him. Nah.
Turns out it was Ben Carter's night that night. And I don't know. I think we'll see more of him. Like I said, the hype he's gotten on social media just after this one match, he seems like someone we'll see again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Were you going to say something, Kira?
No, I was just trying to figure out who Lee is, but I forgot. But
dude, I don't remember either.
Isn't he MJF?
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure he's MJF. We can run through the rest of the late night Dynamite card though. Anna Jay beat Brandy Rhodes. That's somewhat interesting. Was that?
Brandy didn't suck in that one. I just want to comment really quick, and maybe it's because it was taped or something. She didn't suck. I was watching it with a friend. I was like, oh god, Brandy Rhodes match. And wasn't that bad. Yeah.
I remember saying that to Phil. I was like, I think every time I see Brandy, she gets even better and better, and like she really did the best she did. It was so good. I love when matches are like boom.
Sad it was on at 12:30 a.m. Dynamite, but she did all right.
you gotta get those opportunities somewhere for Brandy though. So and in a match against Anna Jay of all people that you're saying that, like this seems like the makings for a match that could kind of just blow up in their face. So I'm glad to hear that it was good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was the match that I wanted to see them fight each other, and the way it went satisfied me.
What do you guys think about it being on the late night episode of Dynamite and not like somewhere else where more eyes would be on it?
I kind of didn't mind it because Brandy Rhodes is such a gamble. Like, sometimes it's okay and sometimes it's terrible.
Yeah.
So to put her on late night, like, all right, it's too. Like I said earlier, though, it's too bad that she had the good match at 12:30.
Yeah, and I think it's cool to like keep Brandy as sort of like a secondary player for right now. Because they need to continue emphasizing the women's division, but I don't necessarily think Brandy needs to be a part of that emphasis. I like that she has a story going on because it helps for the women to have multiple stories going on, but I don't like for her to have the main one going on. So if she is wrestling on Dynamite, that's the feeling I would get, especially with this feud between her and Anna Jay.
Yeah, I was disappointed at first with the placement of it, but it makes sense. You want to put on matches for the special that people are going to want to see. It's an established feud, and obviously that match wasn't going to be the end of the feud. There's obviously going to be progression on more. If it was like the payoff, then yeah, I'd have a problem with it, but it wasn't. Beginning stages, Anna Jay wins.
I would almost give them credit at this point for continuing to use Brandy on these secondary shows to almost add importance to these shows a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's not like nobody watched it. Like we said, 585,000.
So, and it wasn't a bad match, so there's that. Then we get Alex Marvez. He interviews Scorpio Sky. Sky says that he's going after the TNT title. Matt Sydal appears, and they compliment each other for some reason. Obviously setting up what's coming after, but in the moment, probably a little strange.
It was strange. I remember saying, since when are these guys friends or something like that?
I I guess
they're friends. Like they like.
Yeah, they're buddies, and Marvez was gonna go out drinking with them too. It was weird.
Oh, they're always so mean to that interviewer. What's his name?
Alex Marvez.
They were nice to him this time.
No, he was like, you can come too. Like it was
whatever. You got invited.
It's like,
nice gesture, but the way he said it was like, I mean, I guess.
It's like when you make plans in front of somebody that you're like not really cool with, and you're like,
listen, if it was any other wrestler, they would have said you are definitely not invited. So I take it as a plus from Marvez.
Yeah, I don't know. That's fair. After that, we get Sean Spears picking up a win over Matt Sydal. Post-match, Spears goes to attack Sydal, but Scorpio Sky makes the save. So we get a little bit of a follow-up on that. It's still kind of confusing, but I guess.
It is. It was very odd to me that you debut Sydal in his first singles match and you have him lose.
In the main event.
To Sean Spears.
Probably like 1:30 in the morning at that point. Like.
Yeah, it was very odd.
Sean Spears for some reason. And it's been going on for so long, but they really just like stopped and then continue and then they stop and then you're like, what?
Not only did he lose in his debut, he lost to a certified bona fide loser.
No way, dude. Sean Spears is like super undefeated. He has such a
to be
great
fair,
record.
Andrew's right.
Sean Spears' record is insane.
Who the fuck is he beating?
It doesn't matter.
You can be undefeated all you want to. If you beat up scrubs on Dynamite or on Dark and nobody watches it, who cares?
No way, dude.
I don't
It's
know.
like
The
Gunn brother, not the Gunn brother, Billy and Austin Gunn. They're undefeated.
The Gun Club.
Are they ranked? Who cares?
Oh, he's 12-2. 12-2 in singles competition. 1-6 as a tag team. 12-2 in singles. That is insane.
That is insane.
Do you bring up the cage match? Let's see.
I don't need to tell you that.
Run it down.
I don't need to tell you.
Because you know it's unimpressive.
Victories. You're right. It's not an impressive list of people, but still his record is kind of insane. Like he can at this point pretty much go over anyone and I would be understanding of it. Like
if he beat John Moxley,
I would be
mad. No, that's a little too far, Phil.
But I would still understand, bro. He's got a 12-2 record.
You know what also turns me off about Sean Spears is the fact that they took his manager, which was an established act, and then put them with a better program, like the FTR.
And on TV,
kind of helps him in a way. I think in the long run, it'll
He's never
in the
with
long
them.
run it'll help him.
They never even talk about.
They never talk about
or each other to him.
These two things never correlate on television.
Well, because
they really should though.
Maybe not though. Why rush right into them being a thing if there's no reason? Like give it time to develop a little bit.
That's fair. Like you said, in the long run, it could develop into something.
But I will give you that right now. It doesn't do anything for him to be. I kind of like the idea of a manager just having his own situation going on with other people, so I don't hate it. But it doesn't help Sean Spears. You're not wrong there. But I think that's an interesting show that they put on in terms of like a late night Dynamite, something they were going to put on in place of a Dynamite at one point, I think, if the playoffs had landed the right way. So it works out as a standalone show for sure, and it definitely got people tuned in after the playoffs. So that's what they need with that playoffs situation happening. So it worked out in the best way possible for them, really.
Absolutely, and it wasn't a bad show. I enjoyed it.
They've kind of had a run of really good shows. Last week, Dynamite was really, really good. That was where I was bummed that we didn't actually do a show because it was such a good show to have talked about. But we still have a good show to talk about this week's Dynamite.
We do.
It was still a very good and interesting Dynamite. AJ, we opened up with the tag team match with Kip Sabian.
Yep.
I feel like that's not what opened the show, but that's crazy. Kip Sabian says that it's time for the debut of Miro. Well, no, Phil, you laugh at me because you think I don't pay attention to Dynamite. I'm interested because we rushed right into this Kip Sabian thing. I didn't know that we rushed right into it.
I mean, it was the video and then the commentary and then
okay. No,
Kip
well,
Sabian
that's the
came
thing.
out.
Usually you have the commentary part at the beginning. So.
Oh, yeah, I didn't put that.
No,
Sorry.
I'm good. Kip Sabian says it's time for the debut of Miro. He's not just the best man. He's not just his best man or our best man. He's the best man. We bring out Miro. Miro and Kip Sabian go on to face Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. Joey actually got a really interesting promo ahead of this match. It wasn't the best Joey Janela promo I've ever heard, but it was the best AEW Janela promo I've heard. It was short, sweet, but still kind of... I didn't think they were going to win, but it did help me believe in them going into this match.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it was standard Joey, but that's kind of what we want, right? You know, you'd instead of him putting on a silly voice or being wacky or whatever, I kind of just want Joey to cut a promo, and that's what he did. So I liked it, and I liked that he kind of was like, we're not talking about video games, we're not talking about real life, we're talking about winning matches, and I really enjoyed that aspect of it. So yeah, like you said, it kind of got me more hyped for the match, gave them some more credence as a tag team.
I thought it was funny that he mentioned the Express thing. He's like feuding with Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette is like, with his little following, he's like making his racist, sexist, he's making his followers come up with stupid names for the Sunny Kiss, Joey Janela team. Jim Cornette, he's some old manager. You wouldn't know about him.
On AEW?
No.
In real life. But he used to... They're having this whole big thing on Twitter because he wanted to name... Joey wanted to name his team with Sonny the Midnight Express, which is the old team that Jim Cornette used to manage. And, you know, Jim Cornette's all fired up about that. They can't do it because it's copyrights and stuff.
Kira, just to be short and sweet, Jim Cornette is an old crotchety man. He used to be big in wrestling, and now he's just as angry about things all the time.
Okay.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting that he did that. He like threw that out there.
Dude.
Thanks.
He's like a worse Jim Ross.
Oh my god, dude, that's a fucked up comparison for Jim Ross, dude. That's messed up. That's crazy.
I said worse.
He's way worse. He's like 10 times worse than Jim Ross. It's no comparison. But I mean, the match itself was actually really good in terms of Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela kind of getting some offense in. I liked Kip and Miro as a team. I was kind of surprised by that. For a moment, I was concerned that Miro might actually be hurt. I don't know if he was just selling extremely well or if he was hurt for a moment, but it was an interesting couple minutes there.
When he was hopping up and down outside the ring, man.
I think he was just selling.
And then especially when he like just randomly stepped back onto it to like do some move because someone was jumping at him, and I was like, oh, he's now not limp. Like now he's fine.
Yeah, so it was just selling, but he did a great job of selling it. So to Miro's credit, he's doing great. Also, Miro looks like $1 million. I love his new attire. I love the kick pads. Looks like a monster. And goddamn, is he strong? He was just throwing those guys around.
He's a beast.
Great match, honestly. Like not a great match, but it did exactly what it needed to do.
I will say this: there were like 3 times during this match where things just kind of seemed clunky and kind of
a little bit, weird. Like Joey Janela trying to get caught by Miro.
Joey was just like kind of weird.
Joey was not on his game tonight or that night. Yeah.
When he dropped Kip on his face.
Dude, and not only that, when he like basically killed him, there was like there was a dive or something. I can't remember.
It was outside. He was supposed to catch Joey Janela, and then Sonny Kiss drop kicked Joey Janela to fall onto Miro, but then he dropped him and he had to pick him up again to do it.
It was just weird.
Oh god, I think I must have looked away for a second.
Yeah. It was still. I'm glad to see Miro making his official debut in AEW, picking up a victory. I like Miro in AEW, so I think that it's going to get more exciting as it goes along. I think it started off a little flat, but it's obviously going to get better as the weeks go along.
I mean, like Brody. Brody started off a little flat, and look how great he is now.
Yeah,
that is true.
That is true. After that, we get Eddie Kingston coming out. He says that he's going to be fun fighting for the title tonight. He said that he was never eliminated, so he deserves it. Plus, after 18 years, he deserves his shot. After this, we get Jon Moxley. He just comes out, interrupts him. They get nose to nose before the referees hold the two apart. So just setting up for the match at the end of the show. I thought Kingston's promo was pretty cool, and this did a good job at just building up hype for a match that probably many people didn't really believe much in Eddie Kingston, but still, it built it up.
Yeah, I think it was much needed. I liked Eddie Kingston promo. I liked how he was saying we used to be cut from the same cloth. Now we're not. I think Eddie hit all the marks that he needed to hit, and it came off really well. And I like that Jon Moxley was ready to just fight him. Like, it made these... I would love to see a rematch with these guys. You know, like, to Phil's credit, he said he wanted to see Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, and I'm glad we did get to see it, because we'll talk about it more, but they put on a great match, and this was a great preview to that.
Yeah, I liked the promo. I didn't think it was the best promo he's had in AEW.
No, but it was good.
It's just, maybe I'm just getting tired of the whole like taking shots at WWE thing, and it's got to come up in every feud and every segment. Like, this had enough substance to it to where you didn't have to bring in the WWE and mention it and like wink, wink, nod, nod. Oh yeah, you sold out.
I think it makes sense though with Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley.
Yeah, sure, it makes sense every time you use it, but I mean, it doesn't. I don't know. I just wish they'd went in a different direction there. It also just felt a little like kind of rushed, just because you got to like make an angle for this, that, and it. I don't know. It felt a little weird.
Maybe it's because they obviously were not gonna.
I mean, it was rushed, but it had to be rushed, right?
Yeah, like that's what. But they did. He did make a point to bring up. Eddie Kingston made a point to bring up that he was not kicked out of that battle royal, and so he deserved this title shot. So it makes sense to have this match too. So it wasn't like totally bad for me. Maybe they just weren't planning on doing it this way. That's why it was a little.
Yeah, well, and
no,
I
this
think
was
that
definitely thrown together.
Well, they've kind of laid the groundwork for it though with Eddie Kingston, at least in
they
past
have.
weeks, saying that he wasn't eliminated, like Kira said. So it at the end of the day, it makes sense. So I don't really have an issue with it. I liked the promo, and I think that it's the truth. Like what he's saying isn't wrong about Moxley. So in terms of, I don't really think of it as much of a shot towards the WWE. It's kind of a shot towards Moxley's character and storyline.
I agree. That's how I felt about it.
I didn't even know they were referencing WWE until I said, "What does he mean by sold himself?" And Phil told me what.
Yeah, they don't call
McMahon.
wrestling in WWE. They call it sports entertainment. You're not allowed to say wrestling.
They don't call. Who doesn't call what?
WWE doesn't call it wrestling. They call it sports entertainment.
It was a good little segment, but it was kind of like strange to me because for a second I thought the match was starting right then, especially with how commentary was talking, and then they get separated and stuff. But I thought it did a good job. Like I was hyped for it right then and there. I didn't want it at the beginning of the show, but I was like, man, if we're gonna get it, fuck it. But we didn't. Not then. After this, we get Kenny Omega. He comes out to join the commentary team for another Hangman Page match. Hangman picking up the win over Evil Uno. It was a good match for Hangman. I was more interested in a lot of the stuff Kenny had to say on commentary, really.
Same.
But Hangman picking up a victory over Uno, so...
Yeah, it was a good match to their credit, but like you said, I was way more interested in the storyline with Kenny and Hangman. And, backstory here, like they said on commentary, this was another match Kenny turned down that could have been a tag team match, so they have that element to it. I thought it was good, and I'm really interested into seeing where they're going with this, because I guess they're just going to keep doing this, maybe? Like, Hangman keeps getting matches, and Kenny's going to be on commentary, and at one point or another, something's going to give, and something's going to blow up, or somebody has to help somebody, or somebody doesn't. I don't know. But it's an interesting way to go about it. I don't understand why Tony Khan in kayfabe is like, man, we got to put Kenny on commentary for all of Hangman's matches. That seems a little forced to me if they keep doing it. But for now, it's interesting.
Yeah. Kenny seems to be, I don't know if I just never noticed before, but he seems to just be so much more like in his, like, not like he's bad, but like his character, his emotions seem to be like he's tired. Is that what it is? What were we saying?
I think he's trying to sound
low energy Kenny Omega.
Just like
I think he's trying to sound that way though, because I think he's like trying to sound like like he doesn't care about the Hangman match, and he doesn't care about Hangman, and he wants to remove himself from that, so he's not giving it his all. Yeah,
he's really just like, I'm sorry, I keep saying like, but you know what I mean.
He just lacks excitement, really, for what's going on. And I do kind of agree with what AJ's saying in the idea that he's just trying to downplay the match. But I also think that that's kind of just going to be Kenny's character right now, is to just be this kind of like side of Kenny. Sort of like the Young Bucks, you know what I mean? We're just kind of getting like a negative side of them, and this is what that is with Kenny. So I get go ahead, Phil.
I find myself, the Elite obviously are like teasing to turn heel, and I dislike the Young Bucks because they're such unlikable little fuckers. I don't like them, but I find myself not liking Kenny Omega more than them, because his when you listen to him on commentary and you listen to his character, I just don't like him. I mean, I'm not saying like I like Kenny Omega and I like watching him wrestle and I'm interested in his character, but his character is unlikable. I do not like Kenny Omega. And if they drag this
At
on
this
for too
point,
long,
yeah, and I agree. Well,
Hangman is begging for friendship. I'm gonna start to not like him either because it's pathetic. It's pathetic.
I was gonna
Yeah,
say
like-
it makes sense for you to be mad at Kenny because I feel your attachment to that Hangman character, brother. But you can't be turning on Hangman.
Yeah.
He's
I
got to
honestly, like, I
realize
see
he
what
doesn't
means,
care
and
about him.
Think,
Well, I don't think Hangman is. Oh, sorry, Kara, go on.
I'm sorry. I agree a little. I think that Hangman shouldn't, like, you know, he could do it one more time, maybe, you know, oh, like, Kenny, please be my friend. But then if he does it again, or like, I don't know, or if it's like, or if that first time is just so pathetic, like, depends on how he does it. If he's like crying, and we're like, okay, you know what, your friends shouldn't make you cry and miserable. He's not your friend. Get over it. Move on, and like become even bigger than that.
Like, if he gets jumped by somebody and Kenny Omega's on commentary and he doesn't help him, and then he still wants to be friends with him,
Yeah.
loser.
Well, and that
But
could
to
be
that
the next
end, what
layer,
has
you know what I
Hangman
mean?
done? What has Hangman done aside from that first initial interview to say I still want to be friends with Kenny? Like, he's just wrestling matches at this
stares
point.
longingly
Yeah,
at the commentary
that's
table.
true.
Oh my God.
He
I don't
definitely
think
misses
Well,
people
him.
Kenny's
like a
there.
old
I mean, he's
puppy.
looking at
Yeah,
him.
He's a sad puppy. He misses his friend AJ. So
like, does this impress you?
I feel for
Can you
Hangman.
be my partner again?
Have I proven myself to you, Kenny?
I could
No.
see
Sorry, I
that,
took the
that
pin.
being the way where they kind of work it into Hangman almost being the heel, where he's so pathetic, well, if he begs Kenny, Kenny finally accepts him back, and then Hangman turns on him. Then people will hate Hangman.
No, I would cheer for that so hard.
I don't. You
I
would
would
cheer
too.
for someone that you were so mad at them for being pathetic, and then when they're done being pathetic and get their way, they turn. I get it. But at the same
I
time,
wouldn't even consider that a heel turn at this
I
point.
would cheer for him for all the wrong reasons, but yeah, I would.
I get it. But that's where this storyline is honestly going to be the best one of the year because it has so many elements and has been going on for so long, and I'm not really over it. And when I feel like I'm about to be over it, they add something else to make me continue on for 2 months, not being mad it's still going. So
I hate the drama.
Yeah.
after this, we get more drama with Tony Schiavone talking to the Young Bucks. Matt Jackson really does all the talking for them. Tony tries asking a couple of questions about FTR, but Matt Jackson can't handle any of these questions, gets upset, throws a fit, and breaks Tony Schiavone's cell phone. This was really strange. The way he broke the phone was so annoyingly obnoxious.
I loved it. I loved it so much. I'm so happy the Young Bucks are heels again. I'm all for it.
Right. Oh, I thought that was so hilarious. He was just, oh, look at that. Oh, I'm sorry. Here you go.
That was so good. And then he just throws money in his face.
Here, like, get a new one. Like,
They're definitely heels at this point, right? Like it's
Oh yeah, undeniably.
yeah.
and it's kind of great, but kind of like for all the wrong reasons, I guess. In the same way, like they're definitely supposed to be shithead heels, and that's what they're being. So it works out.
Listen,
In ways, I would like it to be expanded on a little bit with why they are being the way they are, because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. You know, they were turned on by Hangman, but after Kenny left Hangman, they were like, "Why are you leaving him, man?" So in that circumstance alone,
So they totally kind of 180'd, I feel like.
but now they're still mad. So that's where I'm confused.
yeah. Yeah.
I think they're just rolling with their new demeanor. Like I think they're just like, okay, we're not going to be the nice guys anymore because being the nice guys has not gotten us the titles. And also, I just want to add, like this group has never been like face Young Bucks. They're such good guys and we love them. Like we all know in this group, we love Young Bucks as heels. Like whenever they're smarmy little assholes doing heel shit in the ring, doing heel shit outside of the ring, they're so easy to hate and it's so fun to watch it. I think it's so good. I love it, and like it just makes me like the Young Bucks more again.
Yeah, I agree, and it's just a very interesting situation. The way that, like I said, they're just jealous, I guess, at the end of the day of FTR, and it's strange. It's strange to see it playing out this way because it's cool, but not how I expected it to play out. So I like it.
And to that end, FTR did it dirty. Like they cheated to get where they are, and so maybe the Young Bucks are going like, well, maybe that's what we have to do.
Yeah. Fair point. After that, we got an interesting match that I wasn't expecting it to actually interest me this much, but Brody Lee picking up the win over Orange Cassidy in about 11 and a half minutes. I was kind of into this one. At first, Brody dominating Orange Cassidy. I was commenting in our group chat, like, Brody just has his number. He's so much more dominant than Orange Cassidy. I thought that's the story they were telling. And within minutes after that, Orange Cassidy is on a run, almost looking like he's going to pick up the victory. And I was kind of buying into it for a second, and it was a lot of fun. It was a fun match.
It really was. This is honestly one of my more favorite TNT title matches I think we've seen. Like, there's not a lot of great ones, to be fair. There's only been a handful. So out of them, though, this was really good. Brody Lee and Orange Cassidy really brought it. OC looked great. Brody looked great. Everything that happened after the match that we'll talk about in a second was awesome. And so this match, like you said, I kind of bought into it for a little bit. Like, man, maybe Orange Cassidy is going to do it and they'll hot potato the title or something. But no, Brody came out on top, which is good. I wanted Brody to win because I want Brody to keep looking strong. And it didn't make Orange Cassidy look weak or anything in him losing.
Anybody going against Brody is just already strong. Maybe not, depending, like strong-minded, I guess, in a way where they can go against this guy because he's scary. Like, he's big. And Cassidy is shorter and not as thick, I guess, or I don't know the word.
No, I hear what you mean.
But not for a second did I
Brody's
think
intimidating.
Lose.
No, I did.
Yeah.
I did because it was a rare TNT title match where the challenger is actually just as established as the champion, if not more so at this point. It seems like, you got to bring Orange Cassidy in some kind of direction. Maybe it's giving him a title. I didn't know what they were going to do. And easily, it did seem around the time where a certain somebody was going to return and continue their feud with Brody. It didn't necessarily have to be for the title. He could have cost him the match. But they ended up doing it the other way, which is fine.
Yeah, I was glad that Brody picked up the win. I thought the match was honestly a lot of fun. Orange Cassidy, this was like, in a strange way, a significant victory for Brody. He had a really solid victory over someone who's beaten Jericho a couple of times. Orange Cassidy has had a really strong push over the last 6 months, really. So a win for Brody Lee here, even though I expected it to happen, it was still a significant victory for him. And it didn't do anything bad for Orange Cassidy because he had a strong run for a solid 2 to 4 minutes there where he was taking out everyone in the inner circle, or not the inner circle, the Dark Order. What's his name jumps in and takes the super...
John Silver.
Yeah, John Silver takes the orange punch. And then Brody picks up the victory. It was really well booked.
Yeah.
The finish was well done, and I really liked this match. I was pleasantly surprised because even in the beginning when it was just Brody dominating Orange Cassidy, I liked it because I could understand that story. Even though Orange Cassidy is supposed to be a upper level main event type guy, I could understand the story of Brody dominating him. But then once Orange got a run in, I could still understand that. And then Brody picking up the win is great. And then we get Cody Rhodes returning with black hair, destroys everyone in the Dark Order. It was a really interesting moment. I liked it. Kira, you think Cody's new look is hilarious?
You almost did a spit take there.
Kira, what is your opinion on Cody Rhodes' new hairstyle?
I mean, that's his normal hair color, Kira. You should know that.
Yeah.
His normal hair. He died.
He's Cuban.
Well, he dyed it pitch black, bro, for sure.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
It was as black as black as hell, man. Ryan, good thing for Ryan. He posted that GIF of the guy from Lazy Town. Man,
oh yeah, Robbie
that
Rotten.
was really that was a good comparison. He looked just like that dude.
Oh yeah.
With his pale skin and his stupid hair. It was a good return. You know, it was coming at some point.
Still well done,
I just.
man.
How long had it been since he?
They said 5 weeks.
Really? Okay.
And it was
when it
great.
happened, it just felt like it was 2 weeks ago. It didn't feel like that long ago, and I'm like, how has he recovered? But I guess
feel like we get a lot
of
Cody a lot, so when he came back, it felt like he wasn't gone for that long. I don't feel like we've missed him really.
I think it was just enough time, honestly. I think
I do too.
That it was like 2 weeks ago they did that shitty commercial where I was like, oh my god, he's doing this off the TV show.
I thought he was going to be gone forever. They probably taped that.
Well,
in like
yeah,
2
and that's
weeks
the
or
thing. When
something.
I saw that video, I thought that, oh man, he's going to be gone another 2 months or so. So when he returned on this show, I was pretty excited. But at the same time, I'm a little bit. I understand where you guys are coming from and almost lean on the side with you guys. Like, I wish he would have taken a little bit more time away, because we have seen a lot of newer, fresh faces or faces that deserve that main event spotlight even get it over the last couple weeks since he hasn't been around. So I'm still glad he's back, I wouldn't have been mad if he stayed gone for a couple more weeks.
I would say I get what you mean, Phil, when you said I didn't miss him. I get what Andrew's saying, though, where I thought he was going to be gone way longer. So when he came back, it shocked me. I was genuinely like, oh my God. So it popped me. But I get what you mean by, like, he wasn't gone long enough for me to, like, go, oh man, I wish Cody was back on TV.
I don't think that would ever happen to me, so maybe that's biased. Like, I don't think, like, if I liked him before, maybe I would feel the same way.
That's fair.
After a long time, or maybe him not being on so much would then make me surprised when I see him, and it would be good because I didn't get so much of him. Maybe that's why I hate him, because I don't know. I don't get
so much of him.
I think it was a good time to come, because Brandy was shut up. Brandy was there, and she was making some angry moves, you know. Then Brody's promo, was that before that was after? After Cody came out, and he ran away, you know, like he always does. Let his little henchmen deal with the problem.
He's so great at how he does that, though. If you watch Brody, even in his matches, it's so awesome. I watched it with the Orange Cassidy match. At one point, he sees Orange Cassidy getting ready to dive on him, so he dips away from his group, and then obviously Orange dives on the group, and that's when he he obviously, you see it after when he dives on him, but watching Brody see this happen and make that move is just so cool and interesting to see. That the way he utilizes the group and plays the sneaky heel is kind of great. So I liked it.
Yeah, I do appreciate that too. Sorry.
It's very interesting to see, like, a coward heel who also is a tough guy.
Yeah, because I'm just shocked. I never noticed it until I'm like, he left, didn't he? Like, he son of a gun.
He definitely did, and he came back and cut a pretty sweet promo. We're going to cut away and play the promo because I really like this promo, so we'll be back in a minute and a half, but this is a great promo.
Of a man, the audacity of you, Cody, to return like that. You have been gone for 5 weeks while I've been here doing the work, being undeniable. Oh my God, the audacity of Cody. What kind of man sends another man to do his work? Did you see what I did to Dustin? Did you see what Anna Jay did to Brandy? What kind of man, Cody? What kind of man lets his wife post Instagram thirst traps while calling me daddy? What kind of man stays away in a little bubble? A man like you, Cody. But you are no man. You are a coward. Give me that silver. Give it to me. Get the hell out of here. Cody, you can run on for a long time, but sooner or later, Brody Lee is gonna cut you down. And I am gonna take this dog collar, Cody. I am gonna wrap it around your neck. I am gonna wrap it around that God-forsaken tattoo. And you, Cody, will have nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. You, Cody, you have 1 week to answer me. Are you a man or are you a coward?
There you have it. That is one of
good.
That is one of my favorite promos I think I've heard in a while. Maybe just Brody referencing his old theme song, "Pop Me."
Yeah, you should explain that to Kira.
Oh, see, I laughed at the Instagram part where he's like, "Oh, your wife's posting thirst traps and calling me daddy." She does.
Well,
she hashtags #Daddy Brody or whatever.
Well,
like, oh, Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
For Kira and for anybody else who isn't familiar with Brody on the Indies, his theme song used to be "God's Gonna Cut You Down" by Johnny Cash. So he referenced his old theme music in that promo. So that was cool. He said, "You can run on for a long time, but sooner or later, Brody Lee's gonna cut you down." And so not only that, a dog collar match is one of my favorite stipulations in wrestling because it's always brutal.
Like,
Somebody always gets
a dog collar match.
A dog collar match is when two wrestlers have a dog collar strapped around their neck and there's a chain connecting both of them. And almost every dog collar match, there's a guy who gets thrown over the ropes and gets hung like a noose, and it's crazy and scary.
Yeah.
So this is going to be intense. This is going to be brutal. I'm super excited for it. That was, like Andrew said, one of the best promos I've heard in a long time. Pinfall or submission?
Oh. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I also thought the match stipulation was interesting because it is an interesting matchup stipulation, and it's not something you don't see very often.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw that?
A long time ago.
You guys pointed out the theme song thing. That was something that triggered with me. Another thing was when he was throwing Cody's little catchphrases back at him.
Yeah.
Being undeniable and
doing the work.
Doing the work while he was gone for 5 weeks. Great promo.
Great.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It was a great promo.
Oh, yeah. The tattoo thing was also really great.
Oh, wait.
Yeah.
Sorry. He said God-forsaken tattoo,
Right.
which is the thoughts of everybody since that thing was
You can buy one, though.
Right?
I'd rather not.
Yeah, it was a solid promo. I really enjoyed it. They are doing a great job with Brody over the last couple months. When he started out, like AJ mentioned earlier on in the show, we didn't have a lot of hope for him, but man, is he definitely one of my favorite characters right now. And I'm so happy to say that because he was one of my favorite wrestlers for so long before his time in WWE. So to see him really elevating to that point without that holding him back is really great. So.
And we were kind of questioning in the beginning, like, can Brody Lee cut promos like he used to be able to? Or because he never actually, not like he used to be able to, because he never really needed to.
Isn't it funny how it kind of ties into the next segment? Isn't it funny how there was at one point we were like, Brody's not a very good talker. Can you imagine how Hardy was the leader of the Dark Order?
I'm glad you bring that up because, like you said, the next segment, we get Matt Hardy cutting a promo with Private Party. I'm not even going to bother mumbling my way through this segment.
Yeah,
we had Chris Jericho come out and interrupt them. Sammy G makes his comeback. That was really fun. I liked that part. That was pretty much the only thing I liked because Matt Hardy's not clear to fight Jericho. So Mark Quinn says, well, I'm cleared. And then Isaiah Cassidy's like, no, wait, but I'm cleared. I will defend the Hardy League. And so we're apparently going to get Isaiah Cassidy wrestling Chris Jericho on Dynamite next week. He called him, he's going to make Jericho his late champion bitch. It was.
How'd you like that?
It wasn't
guys?
a great promo, but again, in it, all I took from it really was like, these are 23-year-old kids who got to learn how to cut a promo. So,
yeah, here's my two negative takeaways.
That's
here.
It?
One was Matt Hardy. Okay, I have more, but I'm not going to mention them. Matt Hardy stuttering and actually somehow sounding worse than Isaiah Cassidy or Mark Quinn. and
oh my god,
he was the worst part of the whole segment. Is the saddest part of it all.
Yeah. The other one being Isaiah Cassidy going, Chris Jericho, I've almost beaten you twice. And I was like, who gives a fuck? You lost.
Almost.
Once.
Did you love it, Phil, or what? Is this the one I should have gotten the recording of, Phil?
Should have. That would have been way better. Just playing back this audio would have been better.
I remember being like, "This is bad, right?" I didn't know because.
And then the dagger in the heart for me was that last line by Cassidy when he said, "My late champion, bitch." Like, it was just.
Oh my god! No, the part where, who was it? One of them went like, "I am," turned around.
It was all very, very rough.
It was comical, but they didn't. I know that they might not have meant it to be that.
No, they didn't. You're absolutely right.
My thoughts on this whole storyline when I first saw it last week when Matt Hardy got beat up with a baseball bat. My first instinct was, Jericho comes up, and it's very obvious they want you to think it's Jericho. But what if it was Private Party? Matt Hardy isn't really doing anything
that
for
would
them.
Be cool.
Beat him up. I thought it would be cool until I heard them speak today.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah.
now I don't want to see it.
No.
They
Yeah.
might sound more natural as heels.
Maybe they would be better bad guys.
Everybody's better at being a bad guy.
You have a fair point.
I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, maybe
I think
it's just
maybe like
No, you're right.
You're right.
It's easier.
Tanahashi is probably like
Tanahashi.
Tanahashi's not.
This guy
Tanahashi can be a
this guy
bad guy
hasn't
too.
seen a Tanahashi match in like 5 years. Talking about Tanahashi. Kira's like, all right.
another moment because they were good in little segments, kind of. Not promos, but
that's where I'm at with it, and kind of my takeaway from it in watching it. I wasn't because they weren't that bad. I think looking back to it, we really remember the worst bits of it. But I remember it immediately being over and me being like, well, Matt Hardy was the worst part of that. Like, and that sucks for them, but at the same time, it almost helped them because they weren't the worst part of it. They weren't the ones dragging it down, and Matt really didn't do much to help them at all. And they were just so unnatural in what they were saying, and that's how they are in a lot of stuff they do. They did a lot of stuff on being the elite during the pandemic that I know you guys didn't watch, but it was just very goofy and funny at the time, but it was unnatural then, and I was like, well, it's just them having fun. Well, now they're on television, and it's still doing unnatural stuff, and I don't know what natural would be for them, but whatever they're doing right now, their promos and stuff, it's just, it'll get better, and they're young kids, but it wasn't great.
For cool guys who are so cool you want to party with them, they don't seem that cool.
Yeah.
No, when
they
cool. Were on the shot of Brandy with Brandy, they seemed kind of rude. Well, one of them
like
did.
young kids, you know what I mean? Probably, you know what I mean? Like young kids that would just rub you the wrong way.
That's Mark.
Mark Twain.
Yeah. Mark. Yeah.
I get
it. Just
a little cocky, probably.
That's it. That's all the shrimp in this taco, and I was like,
jeez.
Oh, be grateful she's giving you any food. And you're on.
I suppose.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And they also
big hot takes from Shot
and they
of
also
Brandy.
struggled with the fact of having to follow a great Brody promo, and then the next promo wasn't great, like knock it out of the park, but the FTR promo that followed was much better as well. So so they set up the fact that they next week have got to pick their opponents, so they've picked SCU. They will get a 20-minute brush with greatness, and if FTR gets the win, even if it's a time limit draw. So they said they were taking it old school. After this, they mentioned that they could also beat the Best Friends, and the Best Friends came out. They said, let's do the 20-minute challenge right now. FTR accepts. They fooled me. They fooled Phil. I thought we were going to get a banger of a match out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And, of course, FTR say, no, we're going to wait for the Best Friends to be 100%. As the heels they are, and it's what you should have expected. But it was a good segment, really, because of that.
The only reason they didn't fool me is because I was like, it's 9:30 and there's a world title match, and they also have the women's match.
I didn't even know.
It seemed like this was like one segment too long, because I feel like the last two matches kind of suffered because we didn't have enough time to really give it the time that would made it really special.
Yeah.
This kind of seemed like, you could place this on any Dynamite and it would have worked. Didn't really need it.
We could say that about the segment prior to it as well.
doubt.
Yeah,
Matt Hardy one.
That. You had to get Chris Jericho on TV, though.
Yeah, that's fair.
They didn't really do a great job describing the whole if it's a draw, we still win kind of thing.
They
because
didn't.
The way they said it was like, if you don't beat us, then we win.
Yeah.
And I was like, what a terrible way to describe that. Of course. Right?
The other thing I'm not fully clear on is so are these matches for the titles?
No. I think it's the same. I think it's a similar situation as last week, where it's like they gotta. I mean, you might be right, but I think it's like last week.
I don't know.
Like you got to win to get a title match, but they did mention the number one contenders when they talked about the Best Friends, so I'm not totally sure.
And they also announced FTR versus SCU next week, which is interesting because if Ben Carter had COVID and then wrestled Scorpio Sky, can Scorpio Sky, even if he doesn't show symptoms, show up? Like I don't know.
Carter,
Well, it could be Kazarian and Daniels
who fought Scorpio Sky. in the late night thing.
Oh my god.
But yeah,
He put a-
it could be Kaz and Daniels,
But
though.
they
They don't
did
have
say
to put
the
Scorpio
first
Sky in.
champions, so you would expect it to be Scorpio. But they
Yeah,
they
yeah.
do
No,
have
the
an easy
graphic
enough
did show
out,
Scorpio
so-
Sky as
Oh, okay.
the live broadcast last night, so I
Gotcha.
assume they're gonna try and have Sky in that match.
Yeah. So I mean, who knows,
Which is
man?
better.
They could change up a
Yeah,
lot
fair
next
point.
week. They obviously had to change up a lot for this week's show, and I think we'll start seeing more of that as the rest of the year continues. To be honest with you, with them having to test people before shows and stuff, I won't even be surprised when we end up with a pay-per-view title match changed because of it. It won't be shocking if they get to that show.
We already did. It wasn't really a pay-per-view match, but the
Moxley,
cage.
yeah, you're right.
Moxley.
So, if it happens again, I won't be surprised. The fact that it's continued to happen, they've mentioned a couple people have either gotten it or tested for it this week. So I won't be surprised if we get a lot of changes. Phil's coughing over there; he's probably got it. So
This conversation.
yeah. After this, we get the women's tag team match. Hikaru Shida and Thunder Rosa picking up the win over Ivelisse and Diamante. This was a little bit short. Wish they could have gotten more time. But I do like that we have 4 women in the women's division who feel kind of important. So that's good.
Yeah.
It was really great. I loved it.
I did too. I thought this was a great match. I wanted even like what you were talking about last night, Andrew. I wish there was a way for Ivelisse and Diamante to win and then have these split up into singles matches or even a rematch with Thunder Rosa and Shida, whatever they want to do. Because Ivelisse and Diamante are such a good tag team and they've kind of established themselves as a tag team, whereas Thunder Rosa and Hikaru Shida are not really a tag team. They're just kind of being thrown together. But I wasn't like, oh man, they lost this blow. It's because they are the champions of their promotions. So them looking good and looking strong doesn't necessarily make Ivelisse and Diamante look terrible. And you said it was a short match. It wasn't like a 3-minute match though. It wasn't like a squash.
Like you said, if we got rid of one segment and were able to allot a little bit more time to these last 2 matches, they both would have fared a little bit better.
Absolutely.
But I do agree. It's not like it was a totally short match, but it was good to see these women all showcased. I do agree that I would have liked to see a win for Ivelisse and Diamante here, but I get protecting the 2 women's champions here as well. So it's a double-edged sword there. I hope that there's something that they could do to continue with these 4 in some way because they were great. It was a good match. So
it was really good.
Are we gonna talk about how one of them got into a real fight with the other one?
a shoot.
Really?
Oh. Yeah,
Phil
week.
bought into the dirt sheets.
That was
Oh.
real,
They worked
right?
you.
Wait, what happened?
So there were some reports going around that in the match last week between Thunder Rosa and who was it, Ivelisse, that Thunder Rosa
Yes.
was going a little bit hard and taking legit shots and shooting on her. But then other people came out and said that was all a bunch of bullshit, and why would they have them then fight another match this week? Some people were saying that Thunder Rosa was just going hard to try and protect the image of the NWA. It was all very confusing, but I think that it was just like bullshit, honestly. I think that someone in AEW fed bullshit to Meltzer to try and get him to hype up, to make this match have a little bit more to it, and then someone else was like, no. That's not what happened. And I kind of am more inclined to believe that with them having this match. But I could be wrong. If there is real heat to it, though, even more so, I would have liked to have seen Ivelisse pick up a victory and them continue it. Because if they're willing to have them wrestle a tag team match, keep it going all the way, you know?
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I didn't know that at all. I had no idea,
Fake fan.
I assume, like what you said, it was, if it's not like either bullshit or exaggerated,
Or you're a fake fan because you didn't even know what happened.
or a fake fan. Yeah.
I barely knew what happened. I
Yeah,
wanted
'cause I
to know what
told
you
you.
guys thought about it.
In a like a weird way, I want it to be true because it adds more to like a storyline. But in the same time, within the realm of professional wrestling, you don't want people to be doing shit like that because they're supposed to trust and protect each other in the ring and not actually try and hurt each other, because at that point, like, what is going on? If one person is lending themselves to being beat up and the other person is trying to physically beat them up, that's a fucked up fight, you know what I mean? So you don't want to see it, but I do like them adding a layer of realism to the story if that's what they were going for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
From there, we get Chris Jericho being interviewed by Dasha. Jericho says that one day Isaiah Cassidy will be a big star in AEW, but not next week because he's going to be facing Jericho. MJF then shows up. They start exchanging compliments. They ask each other why they'd call each other a loser. MJF says that he was calling the limo driver a loser. This was just like a weird situation again between
This is like
these
a
two.
being the elite segment.
It really is. I don't know what this is building to, or if it's building to anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense for it to be building towards anything. Both these guys.
But I don't love it, but I don't hate it either, because like bad guys in wrestling should kind of get along this way, where they don't want to rub each other the wrong way, but they obviously don't love each other either because of their egos and stuff.
Yeah.
So I get it at the end of the day.
I almost really thought for a split second that they'd tag team against against Moxley for some reason, and I was like,
It could be the building to something like that. And the thing about it is, Phil, you say it's a being the elite segment. Jericho says every segment he has on AEW is for a purpose, and I believe him. And I believe these have a purpose, and they're going to lead to something, and it's going to make a point somewhere down the road. And that's also a reason why I like them, is because it's just that element and that layer to, I don't know what's going on, but when I do understand it, when it all comes together, I'm going to be like, oh, shit. So.
Why did everybody seem to want to kiss Jericho's ass all throughout this whole episode?
He's the demo god.
Yeah.
That's why. Then they know.
Yeah, I mean, the honest to God truth is that he's the most over guy in AEW.
Says you.
Mm-hmm.
Says you. Mox is.
What would you say?
Mox is over.
Like, everybody was calling him legendary.
Mox is over, but he's not Chris Jericho.
What
Fair
are they
enough.
doing next week?
I don't know if
Let's
it's
talk
next
about
week.
it. Next week they've got Isaiah Cassidy taking on Chris Jericho. Britt Baker will be in action. FTR is taking on SCU. Ricky Starks will take on Darby Allin. And Jon Moxley will be appearing. And then on October 7th, they will be doing the 30 Years of Jericho celebration, which is what I assume you might have been wondering about, Kira.
Yeah, that. What? Well, I guess
No,
that's
if you
it.
thought they sucked this episode, we'll wait until October 7th.
Well, I think that they had mentioned something because the following week is the anniversary episode, right? The 14th.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the reason they did this because Dynamite started on the 9th, I think, of last year. So it would have been smarter to do the anniversary episode on the 7th, but that's apparently going up against some debate in politics between Biden and Trump.
No one cares.
So, well, of course, no one cares, but obviously they're going to have suffer in the ratings from that. So rather than do their big historical or whatever redo this week, or on that week, they're going to do it the following week. So I get it. It makes sense to me. But, yeah, it kind of is just like a throwaway week. But they're putting it all behind Jericho, so I also understand that. Like, your biggest star,
Yeah.
you like you said, AJ, he's the guy, so I get it.
Yeah, I get it.
And then we get the main event. We get Jon Moxley picking up the win over Eddie Kingston, retaining the championship in about 11 minutes. That's what I expected, honestly. There wasn't really many moments where I was expecting Kingston to win. Even in me wanting him to win, I knew that it just made no sense in me wanting him to win, so I was still against it.
But it was a great match, though. I'll give it that. There was never a moment where I was like, oh, maybe Eddie will do it. But despite that, I was like, man, if this was on a pay-per-view and these two had 25 minutes or whatever, 20 minutes, however long, this would be a Matt classic because they were doing great. They were laying in those shots. Eddie Kingston was killing him with those chops. I really wanted to see him hit the back fist and Mox kick out of it. That didn't get to happen. This was a really phenomenal match. This was a really phenomenal match. I thoroughly enjoyed this main event, despite the fact that I knew who was going to win. And I thought the post-match stuff was interesting. I'm not really sure what the purpose of it was, but I thought it was interesting. But the match itself was really good.
Yeah, I agree.
Phil, it's the match you wanted.
I agree.
Yeah,
That is true.
Yeah.
I think I was a little let down by it just because of how short it was. It was 11 minutes, but it was 11 minutes.
It was short.
So really,
Yeah.
it was like 9 minutes. It was like 9 minutes or 8 minutes. I will agree that it was. Good for what it was. Good for what it was. The shots that they were laying in on each other were really good, especially Kingston definitely won the chop battle. Wasn't even close, especially when they were like going back and forth.
You could hear those things, man. Like hear those
Yeah,
things, man.
bro.
Like bullets.
Yeah.
Oh, so their chests?
Yeah.
Yes.
So their chests?
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, I was a little bit like you, Phil, in terms of somewhat disappointed because I would like to see this match in a greater situation. But I almost like that this could then lay the foundation for that down the line. I never in a million years, honestly, if you told me when AEW started a year ago that Eddie Kingston could be main eventing a Dynamite, would be like, oh, yeah, I agree. But turns out, you know.
Absolutely. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. Eddie Kingston, in the short time since he debuted, has become really prominent in AEW. Has become one of the kind of the major players. He's not like a main event or anything, but he's on the show every week. He's promoing every week. He's contributing to things every week, and it's always pretty good. And this match, I think, despite the fact that it was short, is a testament to that. That again, he delivers every week, even in the short time that he had. He put on a good match. I wish. And like you guys were saying, I wish it was longer, and I wish they cut one of these segments to make it longer, because like Bill said, with the commercial, it was like 8-9 minutes, and that's really a bummer, because these two really could have had like this was if this was longer, this would have been one of my favorite, if not my favorite, title defenses.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not my favorite title defense, but I would have. It was a good title defense. I just have to say that because I can't agree with you as strongly as I did on the TNT title match. That one I did agree was probably my favorite really title defense for that one. But I did like this match. I liked what happened afterwards, especially with Will Hobbs being able to be utilized on this show in some capacity. He's definitely one of my favorite new characters that I hope to see elevated over the coming months, because that, like you said, it doesn't make a ton of sense why they did this segment at the end of the show, but I presume they're gonna try and do that. They're gonna try and do that 6-man tag on the 7th. So.
So the post-match stuff was fine. You want to talk about somebody who really got hit bad with the COVID luck? The guy who didn't even get it or exposed to it was Will Hobbs. Here was his big breakout moment, and he's regulated to coming out, making a save, and then getting beat up like 50 after he makes a save. So doesn't really do much for him other than to say, hey, we still want to do something with this guy.
Like you said, it didn't do a whole lot, but I'm glad that he was involved in some way.
Yes. Another interesting note about all the people who came out, because everybody came out. Lucha Brothers come out, no Butcher and Blade.
You're right.
At first, I was like, wow, what's that all about? It was supposed to be some big family, and then the COVID news, so I'm like, man, it makes more sense. I don't know.
We're not
a good assumption. That would be the main reason why they just wouldn't show up.
Confusing if they weren't out there.
Yeah. And they don't even think.
But knowing AEW, they're probably going to make it into storyline. Like, where were you? Why didn't you help Eddie? Blah, 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 blah.
God forbid they make shit make sense, Phil. So.
They were what about why Lance Archer couldn't be there, though? Wait, what's that? Lance Archer?
Yes,
They want to announce, hey, we actually have 8 people who can't be at the show because of COVID. Like, if they didn't already announce so they have a reason for them to not be involved, then I get it. But honestly, a good show, a good Dynamite. It was
really good show. Yeah.
With them adding that title match at the end, it felt really stacked and became a really fun show. I do think last week's show was probably a little better because of how excited I was coming off of it. But it was overall just they're on a good run. That's the easiest thing to say is with maybe it's the added fans being there. Maybe it's the storylines that have been going on, but these shows have been feeling a little bit more like they did pre-pandemic.
Feels like next week we might have a drop in quality just based on what's announced so far.
It's possible. I also think
versus Chris Jericho isn't.
I
going
really would
well.
not like to watch that. I really wish something would
At
happen.
least he doesn't scream, "Wow, dude, that's fucked up." You're wishing COVID on him, bro.
No. Jumped or something. Something gets fucking coronavirus. Come on.
I think what happened was we had these pre-pay-per-view shows where it was a lot of promos and a lot of building up the matches and not a lot of matches. And then post-pay-per-view, you kind of had the same thing for a little bit. And now we're getting more of the meat and potatoes wrestling. And I think that's why these last two episodes have been good, is because there's not a huge event. They had the anniversary show and everything coming up, and that's a big show, but it's not a pay-per-view. And so we're getting more wrestling, and I think that's the key here, is that we've just had two shows in a row with a lot of wrestling and a lot of good wrestling on it. And I hope they continue that trend, because I think that's really what people are tuning in to see.
Yeah, I agree. So and that is something I was almost thinking about today, because when we started the All Elite podcast, we wanted to do Wednesday night's main event, because we thought we foolishly thought Wednesdays were going to be about like the best wrestling matches on Wednesdays, and like in a way, some weeks we do get the best wrestling on Dynamite, but in a lot of ways it's just they do a really good job at the stories they tell. The best matches generally come at the pay-per-view. I mean, obviously last week's main event was one of the best matches on a Wednesday we've seen in a long time. But outside of matches like that, we don't always get the best wrestling quality on Wednesdays. But it's never bad, But I just think it's funny looking back to pre-AEW and what our expectations were for their idea of wrestling, and seeing what it is now. It's again still not bad, but funny that we just thought we were going to watch work rate wrestling fucking every Wednesday for 2 hours.
We thought it was going to be like Japan, but it varies. It's not far from that, but it's not. It's somewhere in the middle between like the regular American wrestling you come to know and love, and the sports style wrestling that you get in like Japan.
No doubt, sir. No doubt. But that does wrap up everything we have to talk about for AEW this week. We'll be back next Thursday for another All Elite podcast. You can find Phil's social media, my social media, and AJ's social media on the YouTube portion of our podcast, found at youtube.com/AllElitePodcast. Kira, I have to add your social media part. I do have Phil's Green Eggs and Kobe, his Epic Games tag. If you guys want to add Phil on Epic Games, Green Eggs and Kobe, because you only have one social media and we need two, bro. So add Phil on Green Eggs and Kobe.
If you look at our Twitter bio, my name is at there. At Keith_Slater.
There you
That's
go.
what
At
it is.
Kira_Slater.
When I look at the bio on Twitter.
And then you can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/AllElitePod. You can find us on Instagram at All Elite Everything and Twitter at All Elite Podcast. Until next time, thank you guys for tuning into the podcast.
We're so